All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Saturday, January 25th, and we have a massive slate to talk about. 14 games. The only teams that aren't playing are the Thunder and the Trailblazers, so we're going to have a ton of value out there. Definitely going to break down a lot of picks in this one, and yeah, then we'll be on our way. But we're going to go over the recap. If you're new around here, definitely go ahead and subscribe. Leave the video a like, comment something down below. When you do that, it tells YouTube to push this video out a little bit more. And yeah, we're going to be in here for a long haul. Not sure how long the video is going to be just yet, but it will probably be a longer one, and definitely going to be some value out there. So let's jump into the recap of yesterday's picks. Then we'll talk about the back-to-back news. There's definitely a lot of teams on a back-to-back with a huge slate. And then we'll go over the injury news. It might be a long injury report because a ton of teams have injuries. Again, bunch of back-to-back news to talk about. And then we will start talking about some plays. So let's hop into it. Let's get through it. And then I do mention this a few times throughout the video, but I wanted to mention at the beginning too. If this video gets 200 likes, I'm going to add another play in the pinned comment. If it gets 300 likes, I'll add 2 plays. 400 likes, I'll add 3 plays. We'll see how many likes we can get in this video. And yeah, I appreciate all that. All right, so jumping into the recap of yesterday's picks, our first losing day in a long time. So we'll take that one on the chin. It was only a 3-game slate, and a lot of these picks were really, really close. Desmond Bane was our cash at 19.5 points. Ja eventually got ruled out of this game. He was one of our plays. Didn't play, obviously. But yeah, he crept over with 19 points. These were all really, really tight lines. Tyrese Maxey ended on the hook, ended with 11 rebounds and assists, had 7 assists, 4 rebounds. So yeah, he ended on the hook there. That was a close game. The Sixers ended up taking that game, even though the huge spread and things like that. Trey Murphy also ended on the hook there with 28 points and rebounds. Just came up short. It was really the Dejounte Murray game. He had 26 points, chipped in with some rebounds, some assists. So unfortunate there, both on the hooks. And then CJ McCollum also came up just short, ended with 22 points on the night. So a 1-in-5 day. Again, a couple of these were leans. But yeah, we're not going to fret on that. 3-game slate. That's going to happen sometimes. And again, we've been on a massive run, so not too worried about it. Now we get a huge slate. Hopefully, some good spots to attack. Definitely some good spots to attack. So hopefully we're going to bounce back from this, get right back on track because we've been absolutely killing it. So recap yesterday, not the best day in the world, obviously, but we're going to be right back into it. And then we did end up having a profitable Discord day, so that was awesome to see because January continues to be absolutely wild. We cashed a 6x over on Underdog. We didn't play very many slips, to be totally honest, but we attacked Nick Smith Jr. right when the lines came out because LaMelo was out. LaMelo ended up getting ruled out. Miles Bridges ended up getting ruled out. Seth Curry ended up getting ruled out. So he was definitely the focal point of the offense. Mark Williams ended up having a good game. So glad I went to Nick Smith Jr. there. Donovan Clingan, he returned over his rebounds in the first half. I like that. And then Shaedon Sharp's been super consistent. So again, didn't play much, but another profitable day in here, which is awesome. This is going to be a roller coaster. Sometimes you're going to have bad days, bad few days, but we're definitely going to ride this high for as long as we can. And the picks have been great. We've had a extra layer of research added for the past 2 weeks, and that's really paid off how we're attacking the matchups and things like that. So going to continue to try to find these good reads, and hopefully this comes kind of the norm. Month-to-month basis, we are typically up, but 95 units is absolutely crazy. And then jumping into the lineup news for the games for tomorrow, buckle in. This might be a little bit longer of an injury report because we have so many games and also a bunch of teams on a back-to-back. The Hornets, the Cavs, the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, and the Sixers all on a back-to-back. So I always mention this because guys might randomly pop up on the injury report like we've seen many times that aren't even on it right now. So just keep that in mind for it. But for the Pacers and the Spurs, that's the first game. It is that Paris game. It's going to be early in the day, 12 p.m. Eastern start. No injuries to be reported, which is kind of wild in this year's NBA because there's been so many injuries. So don't have to worry about any injuries there. For the Nuggets, not anything crazy to talk about there. They're pretty much healthy. For the Timberwolves, though, Anthony Edwards is a game-time decision. Obviously huge for them. Definitely keep an eye out for him. Dante DiVincenzo will be out again. He's been out for a few games, though, so we do have some research on that. For the Celtics, Derek White has popped up on the injury report. He's a game-time decision. For the Mavericks, Luka's still out. Lively's going to be out. Klay Thompson's going to be a game-time decision. Jaden Hardy is going to be a game-time decision. And then we got a couple guys on the end of the bench here, Marshall, Powell, and Exum. Marshall does get a decent amount of minutes, so these guys are all going to be out for them. For the Nets and the Heat, Jimmy Butler suspended again. Not sure if he's going to play for the Heat very much longer here, but he's not going to play. Josh Richardson, we've seen out a bunch of times. For the Nets, though, bunch of game-time decisions. These are big game-time decisions, too. Ben Simmons, D'Angelo Russell, Williams, it's probable. Watford's going to be out. I'm not even going to keep going here, but we know Cam Johnson's going to be out. Actually, we don't know that. That's a big news one, obviously. So definitely some guys to attack in this matchup, especially without Jimmy Butler. Could be a little bit more competitive. Guys getting a boost, especially if Ben Simmons and D'Lo don't play. And then Cam Thomas has been out for a while for these guys. For the Pistons, Jaden Ivey, obviously going to be out for a while here. Suggs for the Magic, though, is going to get a game-time decision tag. We could see a kind of more healthy Magic team, so keep an eye out for that one. If he does return, assume a minutes limit like we've seen with Paolo and with Franz when they returned. Goga Bitadze, also a game time decision. That is big for someone like Wendell Carter Jr. Cole Anthony, also a game time decision. So probably not a team I'm going to attack really until I know the injury report, especially Suggs, Bitadze, really all these guys. But then Gary Harris going to be out for this one as well. For the Pelicans and the Hornets, Zion game time decision. Brandon Ingram's out. Herb Jones is out. Macy and DeJounte Murray are going to get game time decisions. Not DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray, game time decisions, I guess. So that's definitely a big injury report for them. Again, they are in a back-to-back. They played last night, so Murray's been a probable tag for a lot of these games, probably more like a true game time decision in this one. And then Zion has missed the last few games, I think, with an illness, so he could be ready to go. For the Hornets, game time decisions for LaMelo and Bridges. I assume they'll play because they didn't play yesterday. Again, both teams on a back-to-back in this one. And then a couple other guys as well. Seth Curry, game time decision, he didn't play. Martin, game time decision, he didn't play. All these guys are going to be game time decisions, and they could be ready to go because they didn't play in the first end of the back-to-back. For the Raptors and the Hawks, Agbaji is going to be out. Quickly is going to be out. Olynyk's going to be out. Definitely a boost for some other guys, especially some rebounds and assists for RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes. Kelly Olynyk was a guy that stole a lot of assists from these guys. He is a good facilitator, so seeing him and Quickly out of lineup, and Agbaji, who's a good rebounder, kind of those combo lines with those two guys, pretty consistent there. Trae Young, Capella, probable. Trae Young is going to be a game time decision. Nance is going to be probable. No Jalen Johnson. He's going to miss some time. Risa Shea is going to be out. Cody Zeller is going to be out. So big injury report for them as well. Going to be kind of hard to go to them until we know what's going to happen with Trae. Onyeka Okongwu is getting the start probably again. So he's going to be a guy that I want to kind of focus in on, even if Capella even if Capella comes back because he didn't play last game. This Okongwu spot is going to be a good value probably, I would expect. Rockets and Cavs, no Jabari Smith Jr. He's been out for a while. For the Cavs, again, Mobley's going to be a game time decision. We got to know what's going to happen with him. He's missed the last few games. Same thing with LeVert, same thing with Okoro and Deed Wade. All these guys are going to be getting minutes on the team. If they return, that could bump some guys' lines down. Kings and the Knicks. Kings, De'Aaron Fox, obviously big name there for a game time decision. Not sure what's going to happen with him. I assume he's going to play, but randomly on the injury report, always got to keep in mind that. Josh Hart, game time decision for the Knicks. These other guys have been out for a while, so that Hart obviously is the big one we're looking at there. Could be a good rebounding spot if he is going to miss the game for someone like Karl-Anthony Towns. 76ers and Bulls. Game time decision. Joel Embiid's definitely out of this game. Not sure why I have this game time decision, but actually I do know why I have it as game time decision. It's because he was going to be reevaluated in 7 to 10 days. That was on January 17th, so we're about 8 days from there, so he could randomly start playing. We don't know what's going to happen there. Probably not going to play, but just wanted to point that out. Drummond's going to be a game time decision, though. He might be returning. Kyle Lowry out. Caleb Martin also out. For the Bulls, Kobe White's going to be out. Dosunmu's going to be a game time decision. If Dosunmu ends up playing, I always look at Zach LaVine's field goals attempted. He does not shoot as much with Dosunmu in the lineup. That's always a thing that I look at, even points as well. He doesn't score as much with Io in the lineup. He handles the ball while he's in it, even with Kobe White out of the lineup. For the Jazz, Clarkson's out. Collins will be out, but we're going to get Markin back. We saw him play last game. For a guy like Walker Kessler, he did rebound well last time, but with Laurie in the lineup, he doesn't typically rebound as good here. And then for the Grizzlies, who played last night, Ja didn't play, so he could probably be returning. Marcus Smart continues to be out. Santi Aldama, game time decision, probably going to return as well. And then some of these other guys have been out for a while. For the Lakers, LeBron, AD, always probable. They're going to go ahead and play. And then for Wood and the other dude, they're going to be out like they have been for a while. For the Warriors, Gary Payton Jr., he's going to be probable. He could be returning. He hasn't played in a little bit. Wiggins also probable. He missed a few games. But Jemski's missed the last few games. He's a game time decision, so we could see him back. Draymond Green and Kuminga continue to be out, but definitely keep an eye out for these guys because obviously that changes things, especially if Pod and Kyle Anderson come back, and Wiggins, who missed the last few games. For the Wizards and the Suns, Marvin Bagley, Sadiq Bey, Malcolm Brogdon, nothing new there. Those guys are all going to be out. For the Suns, Bradley Beal, probable. So Tyus Jones, do not go to his assist line if Bradley Beal is going to end up playing. Then for the Bucks and the Clippers, we got Giannis and Chris Middleton, probable. I assume they're going to play. AJ Green continues to be out for that team. He is a guy that gets minutes, so keep an eye out for that. And then for the Clippers, nothing really to talk about. They did miss a whole bunch of guys for a little bit, but looks like they're all healthy and ready to go. All right, so jumping into the first pick of the day, it's going to be Jeremy Sohan over his 9.5 points. Now, he is on a minutes limit. He was on a minutes limit when he came back last game. He missed from January 6th to the 23rd. Again, came back, played against the Spurs in France the first game, and had 13 points in only 18 minutes. This is a pretty good matchup for him. He gets a lot of his points at the rim. whether it's diving to the rim, cutting to the rim, dunking at the rim, whatever it might be. 74% of its shots come at the rim. And the Pacers are pretty good defensively, especially above the break threes. So this isn't the greatest matchup for them. A lot of guys were knocking down shots in the first game. This will be like a home game for the Spurs. We see Wembanyama, the effect that he had on the crowd and things like that. But Soham just quietly did his job. 13 points in only 18 minutes. And again, the minutes limit, this was a 30-point win. He could eventually, see 20 to 25 minutes, I would assume, if this game's a little bit more competitive. And when he sees that, the hit rate's great here. You can see the games he's missed. 12 minutes here, I don't expect that. 15 minutes here, I don't expect that. He did have one game where he missed, where he played a whole bunch of time, but he shot 2 of 8 from the field, and then shot 26 minutes in this game. He didn't shoot well at all. He only shot 4 times in that one. So I expect him to creep over this, 10 points, 15 points, whatever it might be. I just think 9.5 is a little bit too low. So I do like Sohan. This isn't that first game, that 12 p.m. game. I do have more picks, obviously, for the later games, but just wanted to point this one out first because I do like his matchup here, and 9.5 points just seems too low. And then for a lean in this game, obviously I want to get to Victor Wembanyama. He showed out for the hometown crowd, but he did only, this is a weird word to say there, but he did only have 30 points in that game, played 32 minutes. He shot really well too, 13 of 21 from the field, 4 of 11 from 3. Not the best in the world, but this is a good team at taking away from 3 points. And he was knocking him down in front of that, again, home crowd for him. And the reason I want to point this out is because he has not been hitting this line a lot. He shot really well and went over in last game. But I don't think I want to play this again. This is a 28.5, could even come up. I think the way I want to play this is his first quarter points. I don't know why DraftKings has this at 9.5. Most books have this at 7.5. So dropping this down to 7.5 points, I like this a little bit better. Obviously, the hit rate still doesn't look great, but he shot 8 times in the first quarter, the last game. This is something I saw and realized later on in the day when I did the video for the first Pacers game. This is how I want to attack that. Again, he had 10 points. We went to his points normally. He ended up cashing that for us. But I think they're going to be a little bit more focused on Wemby. He might just go over his points line anyway, but if he shoots a whole bunch of times in this game, especially in the first quarter, comes out hot, now they're going to have the logo in the middle. Again, it's not a home game for him specifically, but it is charted up as a home game for him. They're going to have the logo this time, and he's playing in France. It was a home game if you looked at the crowd and things like that. And yeah, Wemby should come out hot. If he shoots 8 times, this looks like a shoe-in. If you can do some advanced filters here for a first quarter field goals attempted, as this starts to creep up, even if he shoots 5 field goals in the first half, he's over this a little bit better, 47% of games. If he starts shooting 6 field goals, this looks a whole lot better, 90% hit rate. So he came out with 10 field goals attempted in that first quarter. I expect him to be just as aggressive. He might even address the crowd again in the Paris games here. So if he shoots 6 times, this looks really good. Again, shot 10 times last game. I think he does come out hot. The points line normally, though, is a little bit too high for me. All of his lines, rebounds, assists, I think he's going to have a good game. But again, this isn't a perfect matchup for him, and his lines are a little bit too inflated. So maybe first quarter, first half points might be the way to do it. And if you want to get some more action down on this game, Miles Turner does have a really good matchup, as you can see in terms of the season chart for him. This is like a combo chart for opponent defense and the player, how they shoot. He shoots a lot of above the break threes. This is a great matchup for the Pacers, not a great matchup for the Spurs in terms of shooting above the break threes. But we saw him shoot 9 threes last game. Was not shooting well at all in the first half. He got blocked to the rim. Ended with 14 points, if you remember the video picks from last time. So his line's at 15.5. I was expecting 13.5 or 14.5 again, but it is at 15.5. Might be a little bit too rich, but it could be a nice little parlay place for his threes. Again, a little bit juiced on the over, but he did shoot 9 of them, and they give up a whole bunch of above the break threes. Could be a spot to look at, a parlay piece for Miles Turner's threes, or if you think a little bit better of them, maybe some points lines at 15.5. If you see it at 14.5, could also be a play there. Then moving away from that game, this is the next game in the slate, and I do like Jamal Murray's under here for 19.5 points. We saw Jokic not really score the ball, not really shoot the ball the last few games, but against the Kings, he was definitely very aggressive, and we saw him go under his points in that game as well. This is just not a good matchup for him. I do want to see if Anthony Edwards play because he's obviously going to be the matchup for Jamal Murray most likely, but he just doesn't shoot very well, doesn't score very well against this team. It's not a great matchup for above the break threes where he gets a lot of his shots. 34% of his shots come from that area. And then you can also see similar players to him have not been hitting their lines as well right here. So guys like Brunson, went under 26 points on a 28.5 line. They limited Brunson to 14 points on a 23.5 line. Fox has kind of struggled against them. He did drop 60 on them one game, but they're fully healthy. They're ready to go. They got a bunch of guys in the lineup now who can score the ball, and Jamal Murray just doesn't have to have that, that weight on his shoulders like he has had in a few of these other games. He can score the ball, obviously. He's looked really good in some of these games, obviously 45 points just a few weeks ago, but just not a great matchup for him. We can see the head-to-head. He did only play 22 minutes in this game, but he had 6 points. Obviously was struggling there. And then dating back to last year, he didn't go over this very often against them either. They had a 35-point game, so again, obviously Jamal Murray can score the ball if he heats up pretty quickly, but I don't love this matchup for him. Under 19.5 points is going to be the next official video pick here for Jamal Murray. Next thing I want to talk about is going to be in the Heat and the Nets game. I like Tyler Hero here. It's not just his points. I like his assist potential against this team as well, and obviously he's been hitting this. This is all the games without Jimmy Butler this year. He's kind of now known that, like, okay, Jimmy's got one foot out the door. I'm kind of the guy on this team now, and you can see he's played the Nets actually before this game. He actually almost the worst scoring outing of his games without Jimmy Butler in the lineup. But I still like this because he chipped in with a 9 assists in that game, and this is a bad defense in terms of defending the spot-up shooting. So you can see how he scores the ball. Pick and roll ball handling, they're number 1. So I think Hero's going to get the volume anyway. Again, he scored 17 on his points back in December. Now he's very much in form without Jimmy Butler. He's getting a ton of shots, so I don't think that's going to matter too much, especially considering the other ways he gets his scoring, spot-up transition, free throws. They're all 27, 26. They're not good at defending that. It's really just that pick and roll ball handling, which is why I like the fact that he might be able to get us some assists if they're really swarming him. Dish out to some spot-up shooters like Duncan Robinson could have a good scoring game if you want to chip in with like a little combo line here. Jovic could also have a good scoring game. I like Jovic at 10.5 points in this one too as kind of a lean, and it correlates really well with this one. So I think Harrow's going to have enough volume here to be able to go over his scoring line as well, but I like to chip in with the assists here. 26.5 points and assists. You can see the hit rate looks great here, 66.7% of games he's over this, 12 of 18. He did hook the last time they played, but again, I think he's in a little bit more form, kind of knowing, okay, Jimmy's one foot out the door, I'm the guy on this team, and I think he's going to be able to score the ball, even though this is a great pick and roll ball handling defense. Now, we don't know what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. We don't know what's going to happen with D'Lo. If D'Lo plays, it's kind of a better situation here for Hero, but he might see Ben Simmons on him a few times if he does end up playing. If he doesn't end up playing, I still like this play, but at 26.5 with that thought that, Ben Simmons might not even be in the lineup here. He doesn't have to deal with Cam Johnson, who's a good defender. I think this is a good spot for Hero to be able to dime the ball, find some spot-up shooters like Duncan Robinson, like Nikola Jovic. I think, again, Jovic at 10.5 points looks pretty good. He's been pretty consistent without Jimmy Butler in the lineup. And pretty good combo there with those two guys. Moving to the next play here, it's going to be Tim Hardaway Jr. under his 11.5 points. I hate this matchup for him. You can see he's only gone over this in 37% of games anyway, but now he gets the Orlando Magic with potentially Jalen Suggs coming back in the lineup. Franz Wagner's back in the lineup. That's a big wing. Paolo's back in the lineup. So this is a really good defensive team anyway, but they've continued to lock down, especially the three-point line, throughout the entire season with all these injuries. Now they're starting to get guys back. We see the Magic in a lot of low-scoring games. Now, you see how Tim Hardaway Jr. gets his points. 51% of his shots are coming from above the break threes. They're ranked number 1 in taking those away. I really think this is not a good matchup for a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr., who not only takes above the break threes, he's also getting, set up by guys like Cade and things like that, and they're number 1 in terms of eliminating spot-up shooting. 34% of his points come from spot-up shooting. So above the break threes, spot-up shooting, both getting taken away from this guy. Transition is also 24% of his points. They're ranked 5th in that. So this is a horrible matchup for him, as you can see. Now his minutes are up because Jaden Ivey's been out. He's been going off in some of these games kind of randomly, but you can see the games he's going off. 10 of 15 shooting. If he shoots 10 of 15 from the line or from the field, he's going to crush this line. We can tip our cap to him. In this one, 9 of 13, and then this one, 6 of 14, 4 of 9 from 3. So he was shooting really, really well in these games that he was crushing this line. Now he just gets a horrible matchup. We've seen him kind of disappear in some of these games as well. If you go to games that are taking away above the break threes, I can take a little filter here as well. Games he's taken away above the break threes, these are bottom 10 lineups. He has been going off in some of these games, but again, I really like this matchup for him to kind of get limited in plenty of these games. 33% of them, he's only gone over this. So that's 10 of 15 games he's staying under. I hate this matchup for him. Looks really good to stay on the under. Now, he did play this team once early in the year. He did go over. He had 12 points, and he also had a 3-point game. He only shot 4 times. So if they're a little bit more like they were in November, hopefully taking away these 3-pointers. The guys missing in that game, Cade Cunningham, a guy that's going to set him up, so that's a big thing. But again, even though he went over the points line last time, he shot 4 of 11. Not the best, not the worst. but I don't think he's going to get the volume. I hate this matchup for him, and I'll take the, I'll roll the dice here at 11.5 in a really good matchup to stay under. And then even diving a little bit deeper into this game, they are really good at defending the three-point line, not only above the break threes, but just in general. They're also ranked 7th and 5th in terms of these two corners. And again, spot-up shooting is huge here. So if you take a little bit even farther into this, spot-up shooting, if you want to see teams that are really good at defending that, let's say bottom half of the league even, only over this in 31.8% of games. If you combo that with a team that's also really good at taking away above the break threes, again, I'm not even going to go too crazy with this, bottom half of the league in terms of defending that three-pointer. I guess the top half of the league in terms of taking away above the break threes and spot-up shooters. He's only over this in 14% of games. So really, really liking this. If you want to just take it at face value in terms of teams that take away three-pointers allowed, you go to teams that are ranked 10th and below. He's only over this in 23% of games. Again, the Magic rank number 1 in that aspect too. So horrible matchup for Tim Hardaway Jr. I think this is a great day to fade him. Under 11.5 points. Again, he's a guy that might shoot 10 to 12 times. If he's knocking him down, then we can't really do anything about that. But I think he's going to have a hand in this face and hopefully not be shooting well. So we made it this far in the video. I definitely would appreciate if you like the video, comment something down below as well. If this video gets 200 likes, I'm going to add another play in the pinned comment because there are a million different plays here. I could keep attacking value all night. It is really late. I do these videos the night before, so it's like 2:30 a.m. right now for me. I got to get some sleep, but I'm ready to attack it tomorrow morning as well and throughout the day. So if this video gets 200 likes, I'm going to go ahead and add another play in the pinned comment. If it gets 300 likes, I'll add 2 plays. 400 likes, I'll add 3 plays. Any 100 likes after that, I'll just keep adding plays for you guys. So plenty of value out there. I think it's going to be an awesome day for us, and hopefully we're attacking some good lines. I hope you guys have a good day of betting because, again, really good day to bet on the NBA. But yeah, I appreciate anyone that likes the video. Comment something down below would be awesome, and subscribe, of course, if you are new. Next up, I want to talk Karl Anthony Towns going up against the Sacramento Kings, who have been staying in games. This is a -6 spread. This is going to be played in New York, where Towns definitely plays a little bit better as well, especially like rebounding and assisting the ball. So I'm going to go to his PRA, not just his points, rebounds, assists. I like his potential for all these. The last 29 games, if I put this to 30 games, he's over in 60% of these games. Obviously, some of these just creeping over, but I could see this game being one where he absolutely goes off because of the matchup he gets here. Now, let's take a look at his season scoring chart or shot chart here. Right here, you can see the green, 30% of his shots above the break threes. He's definitely a guy that can extend the floor, take Sabonis out of the paint, which we love to do against the Kings. 29th ranked and above the break threes. He can jack those up. Now, we can see similar players to Porzingis, or to Karl Anthony Towns, like Porzingis, like Miles Turner, Wembanyama, guys that can extend the game out a little bit, 3-point centers kind of, if you want to talk about it. They all went over their lines against the Kings this year. He hasn't played them, but he played pretty good against them last year, if you want to take a look at that. This is a line he did not hit very well at all last year. 0% of the last 30 games of last year. If you want to extend this for the entire year, did you go over this once, twice? A couple games he went over this, but not very many last year. 9% of games. In one game he didn't go over, but he got really close. 42 against him last year. Obviously, totally different player this year. The other one, he had 30 in PRAs in that one. So again, not the best stat to look at, but good to see that he was even getting close last year in a season that he was not even coming close to this. Now he's in a totally different situation, hasn't played them head-to-head, been crushing this line, and now he gets a great matchup in terms of his free throws, pick and roll, big man, spot-up shooting, whatever you want to call it. He can extend that floor, take Sabonis out of the paint, so I love his scoring potential. Now, why do I like his rebounds and assists here? Let's take a look at last year. Again, head-to-head, we can see assists. He went over in both games, 4 and 5 assists. Now, his rebounding wasn't amazing. He was not as good as a rebounder as he is this year, obviously. He did get 11 and 6 in those games, but I only wanted to look at the head-to-head last year. I want to take a look at what he's been doing this year. In terms of his rebounding lines over the last 29 games, I don't know why this keeps going to 29. Last 30 games, over in 63% of these, some of these monster rebound games. And if you look at the rebounds allowed for this team specifically, 11th in terms of rebounds allowed. If you want to look at all stats allowed to centers, points, rebounds, assists, 21st, 26th, and 29th to centers. So I like all of his potential here. Rebounding, assisting, taking a look at last year, he assisted the ball well against this team, again, in a totally different role. But now he has the potential to have a monster rebounding game, monster assist game, and actually, again, Josh Hart is a game time decision, so that's going to be kind of a part of this play too. He could totally play and he could do well here, but he's played one game without Josh Hart so far this year. Yeah, he had 20 rebounds against them, or not against them, but he had 20 rebounds, 32 points. This is against the Timberwolves, not as good as a matchup, and he also had 6 assists against this one. So if Josh Hart doesn't play, huge bonus here. If he does play, we've seen the hit rate for Karl Anthony Towns just in any game. So he's been crushing this, rebounding, he's been crushing the points, he's been crushing the assists in most of these games, and now he just has a textbook matchup for kind of all of these. That's why I'm clumping them all together and doing the 42.5 PRA going up against the Sacramento Kings. Next up, I want to talk Chris Boucher for the Toronto Raptors going up against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this is going to be a lean just because he doesn't see a ton of minutes. You can see the minutes here, a lot of 15-minute games, 12-minute games. And if he's in the game for 15 minutes, he's not shooting well, this is not going to be too great, but 8.5 points looks pretty good for a guy that potentially could see some extra time. If you look at the injury report, no Emmanuel Quickley, no Ochai Agbaji, and also no Kelly Olynyk. That's two guys that kind of battle him for some minutes here. So we could definitely see a 15+ minute game from him. That's not asking too much. In games he's seeing 15+ minutes over this in 73% of games. I think that's the entire season. Yeah, 19 of 26 games. So just got to knock down his shots, and this is a perfect matchup for a guy like Boucher who gets 41% of his shots in the paint, ranked 28th. 24% of his shots come from above the break threes, ranked 30th. And he's also played this team twice this season, and he went ahead and gone over in both of those, 9 points in 12 minutes, and he also had an 18-minute game where he had 17 points. So I want to call this a full play. It's very, I'm very confident in this one. It's just the minutes. It's if he plays 15 minutes and he shoots poorly, that's going to be bad for us. But perfect matchup for a guy like Chris Boucher. I think it's a kind of a sleeper pick that I don't think a lot of people are going to be on, but he's in a perfect spot here against the Hawks. And I think this is going to be the last play I'm going to talk about for this one. We've talked about a ton of different plays. I think this is the 9th play that I've touched on, but there's so much value out there. 14-game slate. Super excited to really break into even more of it once we know injury news and things like that. And yeah, going to be doing that all day, ripping out plays, and super excited about that. But the last play we're going to talk about is going to be Darius Garland going up against the Houston Rockets, who have a great defense, but we know their one weakness. We've talked about this before. The pick and roll ball handling is their weakness. 29th in terms of pick and roll ball handling defense, or I guess 28th now. But we see guys go over this all the time, including Darius Garland himself. Cade Cunningham at 32 on a 25.5 line. Shea 32 on a 31.5 line. J-Dub and DeRozan didn't get there, but you can see Shea again, J-Dub, Cade Cunningham again. These guys that are pick and roll ball handling, true, 35% of his points come from pick and roll ball handling, and he's been knocking down his threes. Mobley's out of the lineup. They got a whole bunch of injuries too. Okoro's out. Dean Wade's going to be out. Karis LeVert. They're going to need the scoring from Donovan Mitchell, from Darius Garland. And I went to Donovan Mitchell in this same matchup last time. I probably should have gone to Garland. Now I'm going to go to Garland. We'll watch Donovan Mitchell go for 45 points. I like both their matchups here because they are pick and roll ball handling guys, and that's what they that's what Houston does struggle defensively on. They don't struggle defensively on much, but that is one of the things. So let's take a look at his hit rate. 55% of the last 29 games. I don't know why this keeps going to 29 games, but how about 56% of the last 30 games? The big news here is obviously no Evan Mobley. With Evan Mobley out of lineup, he's over this in 83% of games, 5 of 6 games, and crushing this line, a lot of them, 25 points. This is a 21.5 line. Not sure if I mentioned that, but obviously this is a great thing to look at. And now you start thinking about what's been happening for the Cleveland Cavaliers the last few games. Darius Garland, a 90% free throw shooter, missed 2 against this exact same Rockets team to lose the game last time. That didn't bode well for him. He goes over his points line, and then they lose by 3 to the Philadelphia 76ers, who are totally banged up. They've lost 2 in a row. I don't know if that's happened the entire season. And Darius Garland has been a guy that definitely bounces back in these situations. I wanted to bet on him today just because, again, that bounce back situation where they lose to Houston with the free throws from him. He had a great game once again. Evan Mobley out of lineup. He scores really well anyway. But if you could just backtrack to the few games that they've lost, they lost by 20 in this one. He comes back and scores 29 points in the next game. Keep backtracking, they lose this one by 15. He comes back and scores 24 in that one. You keep backtracking again. I think every single game they've lost, he's come back and hit his points log regardless of who's in the lineup. Lose by 9, come back, score 24 points. So he's a guy that does not take losing well, it seems like. Maybe I'm just making a storyline up in my head, but it definitely goes into the data research and things like that. So Darius Garland, kind of a bounce back spot for him. They're on a back-to-back. I want to point that out. He's not a guy that struggles in back-to-backs. He had a 40-point game in a back-to-back set. So he's a young dude. He's still ready to go in terms of these situations. And again, with the injuries building up on this team, he's going to have the ball in his hands even a little bit more and have a little bit more usage. So Garland, I like this spot for him. I do like Donovan Mitchell. I don't want to call him a lean or anything like that. Watch now again. He's going to have 40 points again in the pick and roll defense against this Houston Rockets team. Last time we bet on him, he went 0 for 6 in the fourth quarter. So I'm not trusting him. I'm going to go to the more consistent guy here, and it's been Darius Garland. So over his 21.5 points, that's when I'm playing it against the Rockets. All right, so I think that is going to do it for this one. Again, I'm super excited to really dive into this tomorrow. 14 game slate. We don't get that every day of the week, so there's going to be a ton of good plays, I think, and hopefully have a really, really good day. But the bets we talked about in this one, going to do a real quick recap of them. I'm not going to talk about them in depth. We did that throughout the 29-minute, 30-minute video, whatever this is going to be. But Jeremy Sohan over 9.5 points. Jamal Murray under 19.5 points. Tyler Hero over his 26.5 points and assists. Tim Hardaway Jr. under his 11.5 points. Karl-Anthony Towns over his 42.5 PRA. I really like any of his lines. I like his scoring. I really like his rebounding potential, his assists. I'm clumping them all together, but I might play other lines depending on where I see the value throughout the day. And then Darius Garland over 21.5 points as well. Then I have 3 leans: Victor Wembanyama over 7.5 first quarter points, Nikola Jovic over 10.5 points, and then Chris Boucher over 8.5 points. Boucher would be a full play here, I think, if he got more minutes. But a guy that gets 15 minutes, I can't 100% trust the dude to shoot a good enough percentage. We saw the hit rates and things like that, but I really like the matchup for him, especially with the injuries to Olynyk and Agbaji and these other guys. No quickly in lineup too. We could see him definitely get at least 15 minutes, I think, and he's been really, really consistent with that line. So 9 different plays we talked about. Going to be talking about more. Again, if this gets 200 likes, I'm going to add a comment, or I'm going to add a pin comment with another play. 300 likes, I'll add another play. 400 likes, I'll add another play. We'll see how many likes we can get in this video. That would be awesome. So I appreciate all the support. Again, while you're down there, leave the video a comment as well. That always helps push this video out a little bit more. And also subscribe if you are new. Tons of games starting at noon. So hopefully you guys take advantage of that. Again, if you missed the picks I talked about for the noon game, just keep going throughout the video because we did touch on a lot of the later games as well. So yeah, super excited for the huge slate. Gonna be a lot of work, but that's what I love to do. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching the video. Also, I didn't shout out really any of the partners of the channel today, but if you want access to my Discord community, we do have plays in there where you get access to all of my different slips. And it's just an awesome community where we're also talking sports, talking props, talking different plays. We had some new people join recently, and they're already loving the chat and stuff. They've come from communities that are toxic and honestly like children, looking for plays, looking for free plays and things like that. We got none of it. I really appreciate the community we have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. Of course, we're absolutely killing it lately, so the vibes have been high. But even when we're on a cold streak, we know what this game is. It's a roller coaster sometimes, and we all get it. We're just roasting players that aren't playing well, but vibes have been incredible, and it's definitely something to check out. So links in the description on how to do that. There are plenty of different ways to get in for free. Sign up using my code to PrizePicks, Underdog, Betr, Sleeper, Chalkboard, whatever you want to do. You're going to get deposit matches and all of those. They're awesome apps. I use all of them every single day, and I send out plays for all of them as well. So definitely check those out. And yeah, that's going to do it. 4:15 a.m. That's when I'm going to bed. You can see it in my eyes. So I'm going to get some sleep and get ready for it. I'll probably dream of the slate because we just looked at this board for so long. But that's what we love to do. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Probably actually not going to be a video for Sunday. There's only one game in the NBA. Maybe I'll do a football video if you guys want to see that. But yeah, that's going to do it. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the day. And a lot of basketball to watch. Peace out.